Welcome aboard, and here we are. It's the end of the year 2023. We're slowly getting there, and we're going to have conversations with a number of personalities just to cap off the year properly. And today we're starting off from Job 600 right here in Parliament, and we have our guest, the Member of Parliament for Bole Bamboi, in the person of Yusuf Sulemana. He joins the conversation. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, my brother. We are doing well.
Great. Something I just said brought this to mind. You know, we refer to all of you as honorable members of Parliament. Now, right from the assemblies, everyone wants to be referred to as honorable. What's in the title? Let's start the conversation off from there. And what does it mean if someone doesn't call a member of Parliament honorable?
I don't think there'll be a problem if you don't call a member of Parliament honorable. It's just a title. I mean, we have what we call Mr., Doctor, and what have you. There are others who prefer to be called by just their first names. So for me, if you call me honorable, good. If you don't call me honorable and you mention my name, I'm good to go. It's just a title that has been put in there to sort of draw the attention of the person who is given this title to be mindful that there's some kind of responsibilities, okay, that he's supposed to carry through. And so for me, it's just a reminder that this particular term put on you gives you some kind of respect, some kind of honor, and so you must live to meet that responsibility. Apart from that, if you call me Yusuf, I'm fine. Some call me Suleiman, even though that's my surname, I'm good to go. And in my constituency, the children, everybody, they say Ore everywhere. And so if you go to my constituency now, and you want to know me, you want to get to know where I stay, you meet any child on the street, tell him or her that you are looking for Ore's house, and the child will bring you to Ore's house. What
does the Ore mean?
It's just a short form of original. So O-R-I, Ore. So sort of original, we've shortened it to Ore. And that's my campaign.
Is that your nickname?
Yeah, so we're in school, and then same names, Yusuf Sulemana, another Yusuf Sulemana, the same class, and so there was this argument, and I said, look, we have counterfeit and we have original. And so I'm bearing the original name, Yusuf Sulemana. I know students and you know kids, we just picked it from there and they say, he's the original. And he has come to stay. And that's my political or my campaign name. Wherever I go in the constituency, every child who can speak knows me to be Ore. And sometimes on Fridays are market days, if I decide to ride my bicycle in town, then you see a lot of children following me as if they've seen a new mad person in town chanting my name, Ore, and I share whatever I have with them, and we go on. So that's how I got the title Ore.
I see. Yes. Which of the bicycle types do you use? You remember from back then we used to call those types Buzanga Volvo. Do you have one of those?
I used to use it, but I know my constituents are watching. I won't lie. I use what they call the Machu bikes.
Okay.
That's what I use, a green one. And I'm able to ride in town, and it's quite interesting. Sometimes I even walk. And when you are walking to town, it's interesting. You see a lot of people stopping and offering you lifts. They don't see why you should walk. But I said to myself that, look, my job is not a permanent job. So I shouldn't depart from my normal way of living. I know one day I won't be MP. I shouldn't find it difficult to associate with my people. Because if you are going to live a certain life, now you are not in government, you are not in power, it becomes difficult for you to reconnect. I don't want to have that problem. So I walk around, I ride my bicycle, I ride my motorbike, and I tell you, some of my people like that. They see that you are a simple person, and that's a fact. By His grace, I don't think my strength or my anything could have brought me here. So it is God who has brought me here, and I mustn't forget of where I started.
And just to go back to why I posed the question about the title honorable.
Yes.
sometimes you interact, and I have had cause to say that some members of parliament sometimes don't act so honorably in context.
Yeah.
Like when you were selecting the Speaker of Parliament and some of the actions in there. But again, some also take so much joy in our country in titles without necessarily doing the work attached to it. There's an interesting story of Kojo Bawedu, may his soul rest in peace, who had served in different ministries, including the finance ministry, and how there was an event and an MP came and the lady wrote down his name without honorable, and this person was fuming. But then Kojo Bawedu came and she was writing honorable, and he said, "Oh, just write." That's all. That's all. So simplicity versus bearing. We love titles in our country sometimes without really doing anything. But let's set that aside. What has the year been like for you? 2023. You've been in the 7th Parliament. You've now been in the 8th Parliament. Come next year, in fact, come 2025, we'll enter the 9th Parliament of the 4th Republic. How has 2023 treated you?
2023, as a person, I'll say that the good Lord has been very, very good to me. One major event that took place that could have turned my career upside down has to do with our primaries.
Right.
And so, if I've gone through the primaries successfully, I should thank God, and will not have any reason to say that the 2023 hasn't treated me well. And so for me, if you ask me, is one of the turning points in my life, because come to think of it, I've been a member of parliament in the 7th Parliament, in the 8th Parliament, and now going to the 9th Parliament. And so I had to go through a very competitive, if you like, elections. And so if at the end of the day I carry the day, I must thank God, and I must say that the good Lord has been nice to me. He's been good to me in this particular year. Having said this, it's also important to say that in terms of finances, in terms of economic hardship, in terms of getting back to my people and doing what I think is needful, it's been very, very challenging. Very, very challenging. I had wanted to do quite a number of things for my people, but it's been difficult.
Things like what?
For instance, many of them, as we speak, do not have water, and I thought I could drill a number of boreholes for them. I've not been able to do enough. Just yesterday that I got a contractor, he's on his way to go and see if he can drill 7 more. I've done about 5, and I'm hoping that before the end of January, I should be able to add more to them. Again,
in January 2024.
Yes. So this year, for instance, I'm targeting. I was supposed to do say 18, but I'm likely to do about 12 or so. Then I'll carry the next to early next year. So again, school fees, medical bills, many other things. Sometimes you feel that these are genuine requests, genuine concerns. Somebody is sick at a hospital. But I've always said to myself that even if I wasn't a member of parliament and I see somebody sick and the person cannot afford, why not? I have to come in. Not to talk of when the people have reposed trust in you, they've asked you to lead them, and now they come to you sometimes in very, very dire situations and you're unable to help. It gives you sleepless nights. The previous years have been better than this year in terms of economic strength, and that is one of the worries, because obviously you know that all of us, our purchasing power has gone drastically very, very down, and so the little you get, what do you think you would have been able to use it for, you're not able to use it for those things. And these are things that you are targeted to be achieved in the year 2023. So we can end up by saying that, yes, it treated us very well, but on the other hand, we have some challenges that we can discuss.
You started talking about health. I've also been interacting with some of your colleagues, including the Member of Parliament for Sisala West, Mr. Sukbaru, who told me something that, you know, gave me a bit of a jolt in recent times about the fact that some members of his constituency have to go into Burkina Faso to access healthcare. He spoke about the deplorable state of roads in his constituency and all of that. Let's talk about infrastructure. You can also bring in the bit about health in your constituency, Bole Bamboi. What has it been like? And it's quite a constituency. You inherited it from the former president. Before he became vice president, he was member of parliament for that area before he became also minister and all of that. What is that place like currently?
Yeah, so let's first of all take road network. So many roads were opened up, connecting various communities, so they're able to engage in their farming activities. And they're able to bring their foodstuffs to the market, the central market. Indeed, during his regime, we could see a lot of economic activities going on very well because he had worked hard to open up the roads. Some of these roads that we talk about require annual reshaping and annual maintenance. I can tell you that starting from 2017 to date, most of these roads haven't seen any reshaping. And so they are in a very deplorable state. There's one particular road that links Bole to a very important traditional area called Sonyo. And that is where the district chief executive comes from. It was just last week that we saw a grader on that road. And even when they got halfway the road, they had to brake. I was at the assembly, we had our last assembly meeting, and the district chief executive, the assembly member for that area stood up and said the contractor ended halfway and ran away, and all of that. It generated a whole lot of controversy at the assembly there. That road, very, very deplorable. There's another road called Kebelma Dakurupe Siripe Road. The NDC started it. They had gone far, it was abandoned, the contractor wasn't paid, and people had to even lose lives as a result of the deplorable state of that road. I remember last year or so, there was this heavy downpour that cut the road into two, unknown to these guys who were riding to that community, thought it was just water. So they ride, when they rode into it, and you know, their lives were ended. Now, recently, you would have also heard me talking about the Dolly Bridge. It was also washed off.
The matters you've been talking about.
It was also washed off, and a lot of properties lost because farm products, some animals were all carried away, and all of that. There's another major road that links Bole to Côte d'Ivoire. Through a community called Chache. We started it, the ADC government started it, and halfway the project, the NDC lost power, MPP came, and as I speak to you, nothing has happened to it, and so the road has deteriorated seriously and creating havoc. People have lost lives there because they had heaped sands and gravels and chippings on the road unattended to, and so motor riders and a lot of people, passengers, were involved in accidents, and my own cousin lost his life on that road as a result of the negligence of the contractor and those who were who were working on the road. So basically, when it comes to infrastructure,
condolences on that.
When it comes to infrastructure and specifically roads, the Bole constituency has really seen nothing in terms of development. You also spoke about health. Health will have a very strong, beautiful hospital. When His Excellency John Dramani Mahama was the president, he made sure that we're always having Cuban doctors, and he was also motivating doctors to go stay there and help the people. The story hasn't been the same because it's not difficult to get the Cuban doctors there, and so in most cases you go and you have only one medical officer, one doctor. They are doing their best. and we have also helped them. I've been able to buy motorbikes for them. I've given them some mattresses. I've given them an incubator. Okay, they used not to have an incubator, and I will always mention this: that incubator has saved a lot of lives. Until I bought the incubator for them, children who were born pre-time had to go back, and the record was so scaring until they approached me. And I remember the director said, oh, it's quite expensive, that's why we didn't come. I said, how much is it? He mentioned the figure. I said, look, it's not as expensive as lives, so we have to get it. We fixed it there, and the next time I visited, you won't believe it, 2 children were in the same incubator, side by side. One's head facing west, another one facing the east. Why? Because there was a need for both of them to be safe. And I was asking myself, assuming one of them has some communicable disease, what happens? Wow. So I discussed this once again with His Excellency, the former president, and the wife. And somewhere last year, they had to go and build a very beautiful, modern children's ward as well as maternity ward in Bole to augment the already existing infrastructure we have for the health sector, well equipped, and they gave us many more incubators. And so now we don't have a problem with incubators. You go to the CHIP compounds. I've tried to buy beds for each CHIP compound across the constituency, and some of them too were given motorbikes so they could commute from the hospital to their various CHIP compounds when there's a need for them to carry materials, and also they go around to educate the folks around their CHIP compounds. So in terms of health, we're not doing badly. There's also this issue of galamsey in my constituency. Is one of the things that we are trying to see how we can ensure that it doesn't bring havoc to our people. Now we have about 3 community mining licenses in the community, in the constituency, and they are doing well. And I've been in touch with them, encouraging them and motivating them to ensure that they don't destroy the environment. So it's something that we are looking up to, and if God permits, inshallah, and His Excellency John Dramani Mahama becomes the president again, is one of the areas we are going to use to create more jobs for the youth of that area. We do a lot of farming, and so sometimes I buy fertilizer, I buy cutlasses, I buy Wellington boots, I buy chemicals to help the farmers. You won't believe it. Somebody just need a bag of fertilizer to be able to get, say, 1 acre or half. And once he's able to do that and harvest something, it takes him and the family throughout the year. And so I've been doing that, and it's been very helpful. Okay, I returned from Bole 2 days ago, and I distributed some chemicals, I distributed some cutlasses, I gave out some Wellington boots, and when I get back for this Christmas period, I'm going to do that.
So it's quite a lot you're doing, but I seem to also get the picture that you're suggesting everything that is positive that you've alluded to within the past or the previous administration under Mahama, and you've also spoken about some interventions you have brought to bear. Has this current administration done anything good in your constituency?
Anything good? Of course, you cannot be there for all these years without doing something good. But as to whether that is the priority of the people, for instance, we have a 1D, 1F project that they have built. Now it's standing there, but if I don't get people to go and even clean around it, this dry season, the fire will catch it. Okay? But if you asked them, they will say that, oh, we are putting up 1D, 1F there. The structure is there, no equipment, no machine in there.
What's it supposed to do?
So they're supposed to process granules into paste and oil. And that's another issue to discuss. I haven't seen a lot of my people in the area cultivating granules. One would have thought that we'll go in for shea butter, okay? Because that is what we are known to be doing. And so I was not involved in this project. All of a sudden, we're told that they were doing it. In fact, the people have even named it. They said Tunkusa Factory. You know, Tunkusa in Hausa, that is granule paste. You know, so that's how they've even downgraded it. And again, they have a warehouse there, and that warehouse, even though they're not using it for what they had wanted to use it for, I've seen some private share nut dealers renting it and using it. So I wouldn't say that is bad. They have 1 or 2 chip compounds they have built over the years, and again, I think they also, honestly, these are the things that comes to mind.
Health-wise and otherwise.
That's what I'm saying. Health-wise, they bought they constructed 2 chip compounds or so, and completed some that the NDC had started with. Especially this 2021 to date, this period, I haven't seen much. Because, and you don't blame the district assembly, because sometimes their common fund is about 200,000 Ghana cedi.
Right.
So it's difficult for you 200,000 Ghana cedi on quarterly basis to be able to do any meaningful development.
Now, heading into the election for members of parliament, as far as the 9th parliament is concerned, there are so many issues to look at. For you, I'm sure you're going to try to get into parliament again. A very young person on the end of the MPP who wants to uproot you like yam in the literal sense, and he says he's going to do one better on you. The last election you won by about some 14,000 votes, but we also know that there's a stiff challenge coming your way. How are you lacing your boots for that election in 2024, especially considering the youthfulness of your key contender from the MPP?
So to win an election, you need a whole mix. Okay, it's not just being youthful. I see myself as a youth, and the youth associate with me very well. You can have somebody who is very young, but may not be able to gel with his colleagues. So just being young in terms of age does not really mean that the youth will go along with you. But I do not want to denigrate anybody or say anything unpalatable. But I think that this particular election is one of the elections that I can sleep. And
you can sleep.
And go and help other constituencies.
You can sleep.
And not Bole Bamboi constituency.
Wait. Just to reiterate, you mean in the coming parliamentary election in 2024,
yes,
you feel your contender is so weak that you can literally go to bed and still win? I'm
saying that I'll go and use my resources and my efforts in some other constituencies in order that the NDC will get more seats, rather than staying in Bole Bamboi. In fact, I have a spokesperson. I call him Omega. I think in my absence, Omega can take care of.
I like how all your nicknames start with O. Original, yes, Omega.
Yes, he's my spokesperson, and he's doing very well. In my absence, I don't even want to involve my executives. I can push Omega on my younger brother Raphael, and Omega will handle him. I think.
When you say handle him, what do you mean?
I mean defeat him hands down. Okay, yes, because I don't see Raphael at all. I don't see him. I've been in this game for long. I followed His Excellency John Dramani Mahama growing up. I followed my uncle Joseph Sakakati growing up, and before I became a member of parliament. So I've gone through some apprenticeship. And so it's not as if I'm just putting words together. I'm saying that with Raphael, I can go to sleep, but in order for us to make more gains in other constituencies, I'll have to go and help them. So unfortunately for him, his government is not even winning, so that he would have lobbied for DC.
Which crystal ball did you look in? Which crystal ball did you look in to find out that his government wouldn't retain power?
Mostly those who contest me over the years will tell you that on the quiet, you know, for this seat, I'm not sure I can get it, but at least I'll be a potential candidate for the position of DCE. And
see.
so, for instance, the current DCE contested me in 2016 and then lost woefully. And so they had to reward her by giving her the DCE position. Then my good friend Dema came and contested me and also lost. He's the one that you said I beat by almost 14,000 plus votes. Then he went to contest for the DCE-ship. But I'm told that they said, oh, this one is doing well if you ask us, and we need more women in the system, so allow her to continue. Now Raphael is coming. It's unfortunate that his government will not be in government. I mean, his party will not be in government come 2025, where he would have also lobbied for DCE. But he's a young brother. I've sent a congratulatory message to him when he won their primaries. That tells you that I'm very, very comfortable with him. And I've always told my guys that I'll shave him very, very well very soon.
I'm sorry. You give him a haircut.
Very nice.
Which one? Are you going to give him a punk or?
No, I'll give you Sakura. You know, the young ones don't like Sakura. So if you want him to be very humble, than to give him Sakura. And that's what I intend to do to my.
I hope he doesn't end up giving you Sakura, because then
inshallah, that will never happen. It will never happen. It will never happen. He knows it, and everybody around him knows it. That Bole Bamboi is a no-go area for the MPP.
So in other words, you're going to teach him a political lesson. Is that what you're saying?
I want him to come and learn. Okay, as we move, we should be getting young ones to follow us, and they should also learn. So I'm happy that he decided to contest. At least he will learn some lessons, and that will help him in the future. But for these elections, I tell you, Raphael himself is aware that he cannot. If he's able to get the 30% that the previous one got, then I'll salute him. I don't see him even getting 30%.
In the last election, you got 67.
I got 67.89%
thereabouts.
Yes, and I intend to push it up. There was a reason why I got that figure. My first, the first time I came, I got 75 thereabouts. Okay, now the second one is reduced to 67.7 thereabouts, and there's a reason for that, and I've worked on that. Okay. I won't disclose it here.
So you're hoping for upwards of
70%? I shouldn't get less than 70% in this election.
Right. Some interesting things have happened in Parliament this year, and we can talk about some of the bills that have come to you. The imports bill, for example, among others. And then that also brings me to His Excellency the President and some of the bills that have been pushed forward to him for him to give his assent for them to become law. And the latest tussle as far as that is concerned. I have listened to some legal stalwarts talk about the fact that there's a reason Article 106.12 leaves no room for a president to veto a private member's bill certified by the Speaker of Parliament in accordance with Article 108. What is your positioning on this whole bit about private members' bills and, of course, the consequences of some of these bills, the expenditure of the executive or the state kitty on them, and the president's posturing in recent times? What would you say to that?
Yeah, so clearly the private members bill is not an illegal process. It's not an illegal thing to do. The Constitution recognized it. And it was the Right Honorable Speaker Michael Kwe who really encouraged us and asked that we should go that direction. Bearing in mind that in doing so, you must also be mindful of the cost that it will bring to bear on the coffers. And so we have started, and nobody would disagree with us that the kind of laws that we have passed using the private members bill process are not important. Now, the president was supposed to look at it and give them, or look at them and give them his assent. There's a process. If you think you wouldn't do that, you refer it to the Council of State. They look at it, and then you put your comments on it and bring it back to Parliament. We'll redo it and then send it back to you. It gets to a point you don't have any option than to sign it. So what the president is doing is illegal. And like the right
what the president is doing is illegal. He has his legal counsel. He has the attorney general and all of these people advising him. You say it's illegal?
Yeah, so that's their position. For us here in Parliament, I'm not a lawyer, but we have been well educated, and we think that he cannot do what he's doing. Put your comments why you think it shouldn't be done in this way and bring it back to us. But then you should have consulted the Council of State Members. You don't do that and you write to us and you want to impose your executive powers on us. We are running a democracy that recognizes separation of powers. So the legislature is not and cannot be under the control of the presidency and the president. So he should be mindful of that, and we are saying that what he's doing is neither here nor there. And so that's where we are. So our position is clear that what he's doing is not appropriate, is illegal, and he must change his direction.
I see. And another issue that has come into the picture in recent times has to do with SML, Strategic Management Limited, and the services supposedly they are offering to the nation. I'm sure you've read deep into that, and the latest expose by the Fourth Estate. My question to you, SML has come out with a statement trying to clarify matters, to state that it is not engaged in any shoddy business or any shoddy work, any fraudulent activity. But where do you sit? What's your position?
First of all,
especially in respect of the finance ministry.
Let me thank the media. You know, sometimes we just we are fast at insulting them and denigrating them and putting political colors to their activities. But without them, I can tell you, a lot of things will go under the carpet unnoticed. So the media should be commended for bringing up some of these issues. Now, the simple thing I want to say is, have you realized that the Deputy Minister of Finance, Abena Osei, is running away from that transaction?
How is she
She's distancing away from it. If it was anything good, I don't think as a Deputy Minister you want to take yourself out of that good thing. Clearly it tells you that there's something wrong somewhere.
But we do know that when it comes to the main actions, who has spoken about it, who appended his signature, it's been Ken Ofori-Atta. So you would expect him to be more vocal on it.
Of course, yes, I'm not saying that Abena should be more vocal, but Abena as a Deputy Minister who is part of the ministry and working with the ministry and supporting the Minister of Finance should take responsibility for whatever happens there. So if you have seen her backtracking, if you have seen her trying to distance herself from it, then it tells you that something wrong is going on there. So for me, that transaction, they should stop it. Let's have a thorough look at it. We believe that it's frauded.
You want to investigate it?
Yes, it's frauded with wrongdoings, and so it should be investigated, and let's get to know what exactly is happening there.
Investigated by whom? By the OSP? We want Parliament to get on it? What do you want to see?
No, so for me, the problem with parliamentary probe has been that at the end of the day we politicize it, okay? And we don't get anything good out of it. I may have my problems with the special prosecutor, but I think that if we leave it with him, hoping that he will not be frustrated like he
already has a lot on his plate.
Of course, that is why he's supposed to do. I don't think he has a lot. Let me tell you what is happening. I was here when the Special Prosecutor's Office called me.
Oh, you see.
And what was it? That the 4 of his officers wanted to meet me. I told them I was very busy, and so I couldn't come that day. But if they were interested in coming, they could come. They came here, 4 of them. Ben, you know why? They said there's some Facebook fraud going on, and my name is associated with that person on Facebook, and so that's why they've come to investigate me. I was so shocked. So you are saying that they have a lot of work to do. If they do have a lot of work to do, why would they be following such unnecessary things? It's very simple.
You call it unnecessary.
Very unnecessary.
No, hold on. I also know that there are members of Parliament whose names have been used in fraudulent Facebook, Instagram accounts and all of that to to dupe people.
Yes,
it's an important issue.
So for me,
if they are, you should be concerned if they are using your name, your image, your reputation is at stake.
Yes, I'm concerned. I've been working on that. My problem is this. Today we are all saying that we have registered our names. We have what we call Ghana card, okay, and that we have also registered our SIM cards. So if somebody has transferred money using Momo to another person, the first thing to do is to get that number, which they have. The next thing is to find out from National Identification Authority whose name or whose name that number stands, okay? And then from there, you get in touch with the mobile network. You should be able to clamp down that person as soon as possible. So you are in here writing reports and writing.
In other words, what you're saying is that the special prosecutor,
they don't have enough work
doesn't
to do.
have enough work to do,
yes.
and that they are not focusing on the core issues,
exactly.
the important
exactly.
stuff.
Exactly.
He's dealt with the La Bianca issue. Yes, I do realize that there.
One officer should have dealt with this.
No one has.
Four of them were here. Four of them were here, and they came here twice.
Right.
If they have work to do, would they be doing this? La Bianca, how did it end?
I get it. All these issues that have been looked at, people have been cleared, or the cases Cecilia Dapa are still ongoing. But he still has some very important work on his hands. What can we do?
The problem is that when it comes to corruption and corruption-related matters under this administration, but we have nowhere to go. You turn on your left, you don't know where to go. Your right, don't know where to go. You go forward, a special prosecutor, you go there, he tries to do what he can do. They stop him somewhere along the line. When Domevo started to probe them, what didn't they do? They sack him. So anything that has to do with corruption under this administration, you run for your life. You were here when Manansi had to take cover somewhere. So these are some of the problems. So sometimes, even when you unravel wrongdoing and you think that there's the need for you to investigate, who to investigate becomes a problem because there's no leadership. The leadership today is so comfortable with corruption. Look, in 2015, 2016, one of the pillars on which this government campaigned was high rate of corruption. High rate of corruption, branding of what and what. At the end of the day, today, they don't want to talk about corruption. And even when you want to talk about it, people who are interested in investigating and getting to know what exactly is going on, they clam on you. So it's a sad situation.
That is a battle we have to fight together as a people. As we wind down on the conversation, before I take your Christmas message, I'd like to bring up this last issue. It happened only yesterday, the district level elections, at the very root of our democracy. The Electoral Commission was hoping for a 50% voter turnout in terms of the numbers of the voting public. That did not materialize from what we gather. But there were many problems. Some places voting couldn't happen at all. Some places didn't have the materials. Voting started pretty late with all the attendant issues. And then we're also being told of an issue, for example, somewhere where twins had an issue with their biometrics. I link that to the fact that there is the move for the Electoral Commission in 2024 to do away with the indelible ink you would usually have because they say the biometrics are foolproof. What is your take on that?
Honestly, I was in the constituency yesterday. I had to go and vote and to do some monitoring. And it was so sad, if you ask me. Now, how do we measure turnout? We measure turnout only when the people or the person is able to cast the vote. Not just because, I mean, if the people come around and they are unable to vote, you won't be able to measure the turnout. What if people come around and they are not able to vote? So it was one of the issues. My auntie, a lot of people were there, the biometric machines were not working. And some people waited for a while and left. That is one. Two, I asked Damango and other places. Materials got there very late, go to the polling stations very late. Why? Because I'm told that every constituency was given only 5 vehicles, regardless the size of your constituency, by the electoral commissioner. Again, someone also complained to me. I called a friend who's a election director in Northeast thereabout, and he told me that, my brother, even the money that we were supposed to use to carry out this activity, as I speak to you yesterday, we hadn't received a penny. So we are using our own money to be able to do this. So
EC officials?
Yes. These are some of the challenges. And if this is the way we want to go into the 2024 election, Ben, we should pray to God. because we in the NDC will not allow this to happen. Why? Indelible ink, you say we shouldn't use it. Again, are you aware that instead of having two people to issue, let's say, the ballot for assembly and then ballot for unit committee, this woman is saying that one person to issue all the two?
Right,
what are we talking about?
You can refer to her properly. Jean Mensah, the electoral commissioner. When you say this woman, it's
no, she's a woman. Isn't she a woman?
Yes, but when you say this woman, it's
yes, yes.
So Jean Mensah. Right?
Yes, yes. So for me, I think that she should be very careful. She should be very, very careful. And the way she detects and carry herself through those days, this time, I don't think it will be possible, because Ghanaians are really suffering, and it's not going to be NDC. It's going to be Ghanaians. They will not sit down and allow you to do what you did in 2020, because today the hardship is everywhere.
Do you feel not using the indelible ink as an extra layer of security, for example, do you feel it could lead to overvoting or double voting? They have said, the Electoral Commission has said that they have the biometrics in place, and in fact that they have a code or biometric QR code or something of the sort, so that once you vote, it's taken out of the system and you can't vote again. Aren't you satisfied with that? You
were just alluding to the issue of twins, right? Which created a problem. If there's no problem, why do you look for it? We've been using this indelible ink over the years, and we've been fine with it. Nobody has complained about it. Why are you taking it off? And how much is it going to cost? So for me, she's looking for trouble where there's no trouble. And I tell you, the old ladies in particular, 3 or 4 of them came to me and said that we came to vote, but it seems they didn't consider our votes. I said, why? That normally they will put some...
Is it in this district level?
Yeah, that's in Bole.
Yesterday?
Yesterday. They were asking me, now anytime they voted, since they were born and they started voting, they always indicate that you have voted. If you ask them, it's an acceptance that their votes have been cast, okay? They've come to vote this time, and there's nothing like that. These are illiterate, excuse me to say. They approached me when I went there yesterday and said that, hey, MP, what is happening? This time, they didn't accept our votes. So I said, why? So, oh, we finished, but they didn't give us the ink. If this is the way they want to do, then next time we won't come here. Are you not driving the people away?
I see. That's an interesting picture.
These are some of the problems that we are facing.
Right. And hopefully some of what you're bringing to bear that the Electoral Commission
I just hope that she will listen. I just
right.
hope that she will listen.
All right. So we've had a lot to digest. Let's wrap the conversation with your message. Christmas is just around the corner. It's the season of giving, sharing. What's your Christmas message? And what likely will you be doing in Bole Bamboi during this Christmas?
Christmas is a very important festivity, and I have always taken part in Christmas activities over the years. And so this year, my family and myself, my children, God willing, 23rd, we are joining the good people of Bole Bamboi to celebrate Christmas. Normally, what I do is to share whatever I have with the poor and the needy in my community. So some 200-300 bags of rice, and I give to people who need it, not just party people, no. And so sometimes it creates a lot of problems for me, because sometimes your party people think that it's time for you to give it to them. I don't normally want to do that. I want to give it to those who really need it. And so sometimes I send some to the churches and tell them, you can identify those who really need this food, and I give it to them. The Catholic Church, every 31st night, I'm with them. I normally will go there for us to usher in the new year. So, what do I have to say? We just have to thank God for another year. Christmas is a period where we have to show the good attitudes of Jesus Christ. He stood for love. He stood for solidarity. He stood for peace. And he stood for hope. So these are the things that we must teach during this period. We must exemplify these things and let the young ones know that these are the things that makes us the same people, and that we should be able to bond together regardless your religious affiliation. At the end of the day, what is important is the peace of this community. called Ghana. And that is what Jesus Christ stood for, peace. On the other hand, even the Muslims will tell you that the Prophet Muhammad also stood for peace. So you see that there's some converging points. So my message to my people is that I thank them sincerely for the honor done me during our past elections, that is the primaries, and that I really appreciate that, and I'll be with them to share my love, share the hope, and exhibit the good traits of Jesus Christ. I'm a Muslim, but my Quran teaches me that La nufaruku baina ahadin min rasulihi. Do not separate, do not create confusion and divide my prophets. And the Muslims believe that Jesus Christ is a prophet. So if you're a true Muslim, you don't have to bring any confusion, anything that will separate the Christians from the Muslims, and then the Muslims from the Christians. So we are with them. And let me say this lastly to the council of the elders of the churches in my community. Every year, I always will have a small party with them. Their wives and they themselves will come 1st or 2nd January. We'll go and have a serene place to sit in my constituency, and then we celebrate together. And I cherish them so much. The ideas, the guidance, the love, the prayer that they offer me, I want to salute them and pray that the good Lord will strengthen our relationship.
Thank you very much. And this has been the first of our end of year conversations. It's a series all the way through Christmas. And guess who just joined us? In case you missed it all, you can get a recap. But Yusuf Suleimana, he's Member of Parliament for Bole Bamboi. He joined the conversation. Thank you so much for joining the conversation.
Thank you, my brother. And thank you for coming. In Gonja, you say Ashanukusum.
Say that again.
Ashanukusum.
Ashanukusum. Okay. And what's the response?
You can also repeat same.
Okay.
Ashanukusum.
All right. Well, we thank you too for doing the watching, and look forward to more from us as we go through this season. Thank you for watching.